This is the cheapest Range Rover in the world, and I won it for just a bit of £375. That's because it ended up in auction and was being sold as a non-runner, and in typical fashion with the Range Rover, it was put on a recovery truck to get it home. However, once it was back, just simply swapping a battery and charging it up miraculously got this non-runner running, which meant I could take this 200,000 mile Range Rover for its first proper drive. However, I quickly realised that we need some repairs sorted immediately, starting with an overdue engine service, replacing all the suspension arms and even adding some not required new side steps. And at this point, the car was running great, but it still needed a deep clean as the car was a skip. But time went on and this started to become an abandoned car. Cobwebs were forming and thick layers of dust were settling, partially due to my Bentley and V8 Range Rover Sport projects, which are also on the go. But enough was enough. I wanted to get this car sorted and clean enough so I don't have to wear PPE every time I drive this thing. But most importantly, so we can take this budget Range Rover on a trip to Paris. But before we do all of that, we still need to address a couple of small issues that need fixing with this cheap Range Rover. Starting with replacing this fog light and the trim that goes around it, polish up both of these headlights, but most importantly, sort out this disgusting interior. So what we need to do is remove this, because it's been obviously involved in a little bit of a smack, and to do so it's pretty easy. Just take off this connector and then the actual bulb should just twist out. Once you've done that, get the replacement part, which I just found on eBay, and I think this actually came off a Discovery, but part number's the same, 20 quid or so, something like that. Pop it in like so, twist it into place, and then simply line it up and screw it back in place. But before we do that, we just need to remove the 3 screws which were from the existing lamp. Now we can line up the new part, use the same screws to secure it in place, and then simply clip in the trim cover, and it's as simple as that. Now we can start restoring those hazy lights. They look awful and won't do me any good on those night drives in Europe. So first things first, you want to mask off the edges, use some 800 grit sandpaper, and make sure to keep the lens wet. We need to work our way up from 1500 to 3000, making sure we fully cover the area well. Then the last thing to do is apply some polish, again making sure to get good coverage so it's ready for its final stage, which is using this silicone spray that gives it protection and that gloss look. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. What a huge difference from before. So now that all the jobs are complete, we can take it to the local car wash for its budget deep clean. I cannot believe how nice this car drives. All things considered, price, mileage, overall condition of just how this car is, it drives so nice. It's not perfect. We've got a lot of scars, a lot of wounds on the bodywork, things that can be polished up, but some things such as rust, which are a bit more of an expense if you were to go down that road. But this is all about a budget Range Rover, which is why I decided I don't need to throw crazy money on this car and get it detailed by a professional. Now don't get me wrong, I completely admire a detailer's work. It is exceptional and the standards that they go to is on a different world. But for this case, this is all about a budget Range Rover. We're trying to get this car back on the road and taken abroad, all on a budget. So that's why I decided to just take this to my local car wash, which I do for my buying and selling, to get them to valet the car. And to be fair, they do a good job. But the big difference being, it's a lot cheaper than taking it to a detailer, because obviously taking it to my car wash guys, they spend less time on the car. But even still, I have no doubt that they're going to absolutely make this car look so much better, because let's be honest, this car is an absolute skip. It is one of the dirtiest Range Rovers I've ever sat in my life, and I've been in a lot of Range Rovers, to be honest with you. This tops them all. And if this car is to be going to Paris, it's got to be looking right. It needs to look like a proper Range Rover, but albeit on a budget. So let's drop this off to the car wash, let them do their magic, and then what we'll do is we'll pick up this once we've got it picked up, and I can showcase the car in its final form, ready for its road trip, everything completed. And more so, we can talk about the total cost of how much it's cost to get the car from when we first picked it up on a recovery truck to where the car is going to be after the car wash. So if you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button for me now, and I'm going to see you all once we've removed about 5-6 months of dirt and debris off this Range Rover. I don't think you're ready for this transformation. I mean, guys, look at this car. From where we started to where this car is now, it is absolutely been transformed. Look at it. You would never think that this started off as a £375 bid. It's a Range Rover, for goodness sake, a car which would have cost someone once upon a time £60,000 to £70,000. The car runs and drives absolutely fine, and we've now done the final touch and had this car cleaned up properly to bring it up to a nice roadworthy standard so we can get this car driven abroad. I'm genuinely in shock just walking around this car. I never would have thought that we would be in a position where we've got the car looking as good as this and ready for its road trip to Paris. I cannot believe I'm saying that, and fingers crossed the car is going to make it all the way to Paris, because it is a high miler. It has done 200,000 miles and it's had a bit of a tough life. Still, some battle wounds are left on this car to remain, but that's the whole point. I didn't want to make this, a showroom condition car. Its character, it shows the journey this car has had, but from where this car started to where we are now, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I did also change the front and rear number plate for some new ones. Got them made up at dealer, only really because, to me, if you've got a Range Rover, you need the big one on the rear. The existing plate, it was a little bit old, a little bit tatty, but for me, that's the wrong size. Get yourself one of these. Let me show you the interior, because this is the biggest change in my opinion. It was an absolute skip. Let's not beat around the bush. This car was not well kept in terms of condition inside, hygiene, and just general wear and tear. But you can see it is looking a lot better already. If you're wondering where the mats are, I've just left them out to dry because they are still a little bit wet from the valet. However, going over on this side, you remember there was a lot of dirt and a lot of grime over here, but it is looking so much better. The carpet's actually come up really well. Even around the center console, there was so much dust, so much grime. Even around here, it was all sticky and there was just bits everywhere. And it just needed a little bit of love and a little bit of attention to bring it up to a better standard. And I know it's not perfect. There are still some blemishes you're going to see. You'll be able to point them out to me as well. I'm sure you will. But considering this has all been done at my local car wash for a cost of £50, I mean, it's not bad at all. Now, in the rears, there was a lot of dirt and a lot of grime on the leather. It's not perfect. There still are a few little stains. I actually think it might even be some old chewing gum. I don't know, but it's giving me that sort of vibe. Compared to what the car was looking like before, it is looking so nice. I wish you could smell how the car is now compared to what it was before, because it was a disgusting, tangy type of vibe. But now the car is looking like a Range Rover, a luxury car, nice place for anyone to be sat in the back. We've got some screens there. We've got some headphones. I mean, what more could you possibly want from a cheap Range Rover? To think this started off as a non-runner car which came into BCA because someone thought it has reached its end of life. It just makes saving this L322 even better. From getting it recovered back home, then started on my driveway, to taking it for its first drive really put a smile on my face. Knowing that this car was probably destined for the scrapyard but now is running and ready for its next voyage really just shows that with a bit of TLC, servicing and even DIY without breaking the bank, you can really drive a Range Rover on a budget. And that's why I love Range Rovers. It's such a practical, comfortable and luxury car. It will waft you to the south of France, but it will also take your old junk down to the local tip. And even though the world loves to slate Range Rovers and the reliability, I think today we can all agree that what started as a £375 bid, 200,000 mile Range Rover, value for money has to be one of the best things money can buy. So I think it's time for us to see now if we can get this cheap budget Range Rover all the way from London to Paris. And if you want to be a part of that journey, do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button for me right now. But before we end this video, I need to get into the cost of how much this Range Rover has cost me, as we have spent a little bit more than 375 along the way. So on that note, guys, I'm going to end today's video here. Thank you so much again for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.